Hi there, Chip here, and we're here with Pete down at the Ox, and to talk to you some more once again about listening skills. And the key piece we wanted to talk to you today was about mastering listening and the power of learning how to really listen well. It's interesting, in life we spend all kinds of times learning how to present, how to write, how to sell even, but all too often we haven't really taken the time to learn how to listen well. In fact, less than 2% of the people out there have actually taken a listening course. And yet, there are over 35 studies that really highlight listening as being a critical business skill. And I know personally I've experienced the power of learning how to listen well in my personal life, and how dramatically that's improved the quality of my relationships, my ability to connect meaningfully with my kids. And it's interesting, even because the other piece in that too is that one of the big misconceptions is that listening well takes longer. It doesn't need to take longer. What it takes is better skills.
In fact, I think it makes things, or it helps things go quicker. I think the impact of learning how to listen well, not just in terms kind of the surface piece, and as some would teach kind of the parroting skills where you say, hey, I'm really frustrated, and I say, well, it sounds like you're frustrated. We're not talking about that. We're talking about being able to listen at a level where I'm not only hearing the essence of what you're talking about, but I'm also getting the impact of that for you. And if I can learn how to listen at that level, then it moves relationships forward. It actually, as Covey would have said, with people, slow is fast, fast is slow. And so if I can slow myself down enough to really hear what is most meaningful for you and be able to tap into that, it actually accelerates things, because now you want to work with me. Now you want to have the conversation. Now you feel cared for. Now you feel listened to. And I remember this would be like close to 20 years ago now, I was pretty frustrated with in terms of my capacity to connect with my family, with those that were on the team that I was leading. And I came across an individual, and this guy, when you were in conversation with him, it almost felt like there was nobody else in the world. He was just so centered in on the conversation with you and listening for what was most meaningful for you. I go, okay, I need to learn how to do that. And so I actually asked this guy to mentor me because I knew I needed to learn how to listen better.
When we think about listening and we talk about why it's so important, if we understand intellectually why it's so important, why don't we do it? Why don't we do it more? And I just think, we don't do it because it's hard, right? It's like, it's hard work. I find it hard work to listen, right? Most of the time when we're listening to somebody else, we're just listening and thinking about how we're going to respond. We're listening and thinking about what we're going to say next. We're not really embedding ourselves, putting ourselves in that person's shoes and looking to hear what they hear from their perspective. Not that I'm going to agree, but that the first step is to really understand from their perspective. And so we don't do it because it's hard, right? We don't do it because we think we don't have time, right? I'm too busy. I just got to tell this person this thing and then move on, right? But what we don't realize is what we're missing out on because of that paradigm or perspective. There are other reasons why I think we don't do it?
I think the biggest one in terms of that I had to overcome was a little bit of an ego. And I don't know about you in terms of those listening, but I know, Chip, for you and for me, that's been a big one for me to learn over time, that I'm not always right. And I actually can learn from this person, and they add value to me because they can round out my perspective. They can provide some better, some new, some different information that I actually hadn't thought of before because my ego was getting in the way. And being willing to set that aside and have the attitude of a learner with them and saying, I can actually learn from this person, they can inform my thinking, I can make better decisions. And it works, and there's so much more ease, far less wear and tear in the relationship.
So once I am able to set that aside, and really, literally, I love, I sort of play games with myself almost in some ways and say, okay, I got to treat this like a treasure hunt. That there's treasure that this person has that I need to uncover, I need to figure out, right? And as I figure that out, it rounds out my perspective and adds to my understanding of the issue.